Every day the oceans rise and fall in a steady rhythm, pushed and pulled by the gravitational dance between the Earth, the Moon, and the Sun. Hidden in that rhythm is a staggering amount of power, so much that scientists estimate tidal forces around the globe contain more than 120 gigawatts of potential energy. That's enough to power hundreds of millions of homes if we can learn how to capture it. Imagine a future where the eternal heartbeat of the sea becomes humanity's most reliable energy partner. Could the tides hold the secret to ending our dependence on fossil fuels? Subscribe, like, and turn on notifications so you never miss the breakthroughs that could reshape the way we live, because today we're diving deep into the ocean's hidden power. For more than a century, fossil fuels have fueled our cities, industries, and daily lives, but the cost has been devastating. Greenhouse gases heating the planet, rising seas threatening coastlines, polluted skies choking entire communities. Climate change is not a distant possibility. It's happening here and now. The urgency for alternatives isn't just about science or politics. It's about survival, resilience, and creating a livable world for future generations. That's why renewable energy has become one of the defining frontiers of our time. Solar and wind are leading the charge, but they come with their own limitations. What happens when the sun doesn't shine or the wind refuses to blow? The world needs a renewable source that doesn't falter, that keeps flowing like clockwork. That's where tidal power enters the story. Unlike most renewables, the tides are perfectly predictable. We know when they'll rise, when they'll fall, and how strong they'll be centuries in advance. The physics is written in the sky by celestial bodies that will keep pulling on our oceans for as long as Earth exists. That means tidal power offers something no other renewable does: guaranteed consistency. For power grids that depend on stability, this is revolutionary. The tides are not just a resource, they are a promise, a constant reminder that energy can flow with the reliability of nature itself. The sun may hide, the wind may stall, but the moon will never stop pulling at our seas. But how exactly does tidal power work? At its simplest, it's about turning the ocean's motion into electricity. The most traditional method uses tidal barrages, giant structures built across river mouths or bays. As water surges in and out with the tide, it spins massive underwater turbines that generate power. France's Lorentz tidal station, built in 1966, has been doing this for decades, quietly producing electricity for hundreds of thousands of homes. More recently, projects like Scotland's Magen Array have deployed undersea turbines that look like futuristic windmills planted on the ocean floor. As currents race past them, they spin continuously, feeding clean energy into the grid. South Korea's Siwa Lake tidal station is another prime example, producing over 250 megawatts and demonstrating how modern tidal plants can scale. In Canada's Bay of Fundy, where tides rise and fall by more than 15 meters, experimental projects are showing just how powerful this resource can be when fully tapped. The advantage is clear. While solar panels may sleep at night and wind turbines rest on calm days, the tides never stop. Twice a day, every day, they move oceans of water with unstoppable force. And unlike many renewables that demand vast stretches of land or clear skies, tidal energy can be tucked away beneath the waves, invisible to most of us, yet endlessly reliable. The regularity of tidal cycles provides planners and engineers with a confidence no other renewable can match. Tidal energy planners can design power output schedules years ahead, something solar and wind cannot promise. That level of certainty could reshape how nations design their energy grids, reducing dependence on expensive backup systems. Of course, challenges exist. Building massive underwater turbines that can withstand corrosive saltwater and violent storms isn't easy. The upfront costs are high, and maintenance requires engineering on a scale few industries can manage. But innovation is changing the game. Engineers are developing floating tidal platforms that rise and fall with the waves, avoiding the harshest pressures of the deep sea while capturing even more power from fast-moving currents. Advanced materials, drawn from aerospace research, are making turbines lighter, stronger, and far more efficient. Some designs resemble sleek underwater wings that oscillate with the tides, producing electricity with minimal disruption to marine life. Others look like giant underwater kites, soaring back and forth in the currents to generate power more efficiently than stationary turbines. Still others are inspired by nature itself. Biomimicry is helping invent turbines shaped like fish fins or manta ray wings, blending into ecosystems rather than disrupting them. Every design iteration is pushing tidal energy closer to being both cost competitive and environmentally harmonious. What's in it for us? The benefits go beyond clean energy. Tidal power could transform coastal communities, giving them independence from centralized fossil fuel grids. Imagine a small fishing town in Alaska, or a remote island in Indonesia powered entirely by the tides that lap at their shores. These systems could cut costs, provide jobs, and ensure resilience even when global energy markets fluctuate wildly. And on a planetary scale, shifting to tidal power could slash carbon emissions, protecting coral reefs, glaciers, and forests alike. The social impact could be enormous: job creation in green engineering, cleaner air that reduces respiratory diseases, and local industries thriving around renewable innovation. Schools could be powered by the sea outside their doors. Hospitals in remote coastal areas could have stable, non-polluting electricity. Tourism economies could thrive under the branding of sustainable ocean-powered communities. Entire regions could be reborn economically, transforming energy poverty into abundance. The ocean could become not just a source of food and trade, but of independence and prosperity. Now here's where it gets exciting. Scientists have recently unveiled prototypes of modular tidal turbines that can be deployed in swarms, scaling up like solar panels but in the sea. Each unit is small, easy to maintain, and when combined, they could generate megawatts of reliable power. Some companies are even exploring hybrid platforms that combine tidal, wave, and wind capture all in one floating system. This synergy could unlock the ocean as the single most diverse and reliable renewable power plant on Earth. If even a fraction of the ocean's theoretical potential is harnessed, experts say tidal power alone could meet up to 10% of global energy demand. Other estimates suggest that with further advances, tidal energy could rival hydroelectric power in capacity, fundamentally reshaping the energy landscape. Imagine oceans dotted not with oil rigs, but with clean energy hubs feeding humanity's future. Floating cities could someday be powered entirely by the waters beneath them. And it's not just about electricity. Harnessing tides could also revolutionize water desalination, creating fresh drinking water for regions plagued by drought. Coastal cities that currently rely on costly, carbon-heavy desalination plants could instead tap into the endless rhythm of the sea to provide water at a fraction of the cost. Coupled with battery storage, tidal power could stabilize grids, preventing blackouts during peak demand. Every tide becomes a guarantee. Energy will come, water will flow, lights will stay on. That's a level of certainty humanity has rarely had in its energy systems. Even agriculture could benefit, with tidal-powered irrigation systems sustaining crops in regions previously considered too dry or unstable to farm reliably. The reach of tidal energy extends far beyond power. It touches water, food, health, and economic resilience. Communities could build entire circular economies around it, linking energy to farming, housing, and clean water. There's also a resilience factor. While hurricanes and typhoons can destroy solar farms or knock out wind turbines, the tides always return. Systems built to endure the sea's fury can bounce back quickly, ensuring that communities are never left powerless. For island nations facing rising seas and climate-related disasters, this could mean the difference between vulnerability and security. And with climate-induced migration expected to rise in coming decades, ensuring stable power and water in coastal regions could reduce displacement and conflict. Energy security could literally anchor entire nations, helping prevent crises that ripple far beyond their borders. Tidal power isn't just a technical solution, it's a geopolitical stabilizer. Imagine for a moment a world where megacities run partly on the lunar pull of tides, where island nations no longer fear energy shortages, where ocean power slashes carbon emissions enough to slow climate change. This is not science fiction, it's the path unfolding before us. But it depends on how boldly we invest, innovate, and commit to making tidal power part of the renewable revolution. The lessons of history are clear. Technologies that once seemed impossible, like harnessing the atom or flying to the moon, became reality when humanity set its sights high enough. If we can put satellites in orbit and probes on Mars, why shouldn't we master the endless dance of the tides here on Earth? The same daring spirit that carried us into space can lead us into a cleaner, ocean-powered age. The ocean story has always been tied to human destiny. Now, that destiny might run on lunar-driven currents. Think about it. Humanity has long looked to the skies for solutions, from solar panels to satellites. But perhaps the real key has been at our feet all along, rushing in and out with every tide. Harnessing that force means choosing stability, choosing sustainability, and choosing to live in alignment with the planet rather than against it. The ocean, after all, is not just a backdrop to human history, It is a living system that has always powered life itself. From feeding civilizations with its bounty to shaping the very climates in which we thrive, the sea has always been our partner. Now, for the first time in history, we have the tools to make it our power source as well. If history is written in cycles, then the cycles of the tides may yet write our next chapter. And that chapter could be the one where humanity finally achieves balance between progress and preservation. And while tidal power won't solve everything, it doesn't have to. It can complement solar, wind, and geothermal, becoming part of a balanced, resilient energy mix. Together, these forces could finally tip the scales away from fossil fuels and toward a sustainable, livable future. Picture a world where renewable energy portfolios are no longer dominated by just a couple of technologies, but thrive as an interconnected network, each balancing the weaknesses of the others. Tidal power's predictability could provide the anchor, the steady heartbeat, to balance the variability of the sun and wind. Just as the moon has guided sailors for millennia, it could soon guide our energy future. And as the tides rise and fall, they could carry humanity forward into an era where energy scarcity is replaced with energy abundance. The ocean has been fueling life on Earth for billions of years. Now it could fuel our future too. So, the question remains, will we rise with the tide, or let this secret power slip past us? The choice is ours, and the clock is ticking. Curious about where this will lead? Subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to stay with us as we explore the breakthroughs shaping the future. Because the ocean's next wave of innovation might just change the way you live. This is Tech Mythos.